The vision of Obadiah begins with a solemn message. It is a declaration from the Lord to the nation of Edom. A report has been sent from the Lord. A messenger has been sent among the nations. The message calls them to rise up for battle against Edom. The Lord declares that he will make Edom small among the nations. Edom will be utterly despised. The pride of their heart has deceived them. They dwell in the clefts of the rock. Their home is set high. They say in their heart that no one can bring them down. The Lord replies that even if Edom soars like the eagle, even if they set their nest among the stars, from there he will bring them down. This is the word of the Lord. If thieves came to Edom, if robbers came by night, they would only steal what they needed. If grape gatherers came, they would leave some gleanings. But Esau will be completely pillaged. His hidden treasures will be sought out. All Edom's allies will turn against them. Those at peace with Edom will deceive them. Those who eat bread with Edom will lay a trap for them. Edom will not detect it until it is too late. On that day, declares the Lord, he will destroy the wise men out of Edom. Understanding will perish from the mountain of Esau. The mighty men of Edom will be dismayed. Every man will be cut off by slaughter. The judgment comes because of violence done to Jacob. Shame will cover Edom. They will be cut off forever. On the day that Edom stood aloof, on the day that strangers carried off Jacob's wealth, on the day foreigners entered his gates, on the day they cast lots for Jerusalem, Edom was like one of them. But Edom should not have rejoiced over the people of Judah. On the day of their ruin, Edom should not have gloated over them. They should not have spoken proudly. On the day of distress, Edom should not have entered the gate of God's people. On the day of their calamity, they should not have looked on their affliction. On the day of their ruin, Edom should not have looted their wealth. On the day of their disaster, they should not have stood at the crossroads. To cut off fugitives, they should not have delivered survivors into the hands of the enemy. The day of the Lord is near upon all nations. As they have done, it shall be done to them. Their deeds shall return on their own heads. Just as they have drunk on the holy mountain, so all the nations shall drink continually. They shall drink and swallow. They shall be as though they had never been. But in Mount Zion there shall be those who escape. It shall be holy. The house of Jacob shall possess their own possessions. The house of Jacob shall be a fire. The house of Joseph a flame. The house of Esau will be stubble. They shall burn them and consume them. There shall be no survivor for the house of Esau. For the Lord has spoken. Those of the Negeb shall possess Mount Esau. Those of the Shephelah shall possess the land of the Philistines. They shall possess the land of Ephraim and Samaria. Benjamin shall possess it. The exiles of the people of Israel who are in Halah shall possess the land of the Canaanites as far as Zot. The exiles of Jerusalem who are in shall possess the cities of the Negeb. Saviors shall go up to Mount Zion, to rule Mount Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. The vision of Obadiah is short but fierce. It is a word of judgment. It carries a divine message against the nation of Edom, their pride, their betrayal, their downfall. The Lord had spoken. He had summoned the nations to rise, not for trade, not for peace, but for battle against Edom, a nation that once felt secure among cliffs and stone. The people of Edom believed they were safe. They lived high in the rocks, their homes carved into the mountains. They said in their hearts that none could reach them. But the Lord sees beyond stone. He declared that, even if Edom made its nest among stars, even if it soared with the eagles, still he would bring it down. The pride of Edom would be shattered. This destruction would be thorough, not like the work of thieves. Thieves steal a little, they leave much behind. But Edom's treasures would be searched out. Nothing would remain hidden. Those once close to Edom would betray it, allies would turn into enemies, peaceful neighbors would lay traps. Edom would fall by the hands of its own friends. The Lord promised to strip Edom of wisdom. Its counselors would be silenced. The wise would become confused. The strong men would tremble. Every warrior in Teman would lose courage. They would be cut down. The mountain of Esau would be drenched in blood. Why such a severe judgment? It was not only pride, it was violence, it was betrayal. When Jerusalem fell to foreign invaders, Edom stood by and watched. They did not help their brother Jacob. They rejoiced in his fall. They celebrated in the streets as Jerusalem suffered. They gloated when disaster struck Judah. They spoke with arrogance, as if they were glad to see pain, but it went further. Edom entered the city. They joined in the looting. They plundered what was left. Like scavengers after the battle, they blocked the roads. They caught those trying to flee. They handed survivors over to the enemy. For this the Lord spoke. For this he promised vengeance. He declared that what Edom had done would be done to them. Their deeds would return on their own heads. The measure they used would be measured back to them. The nations would drink from the cup of wrath. As Edom had once mocked, now they would be mocked. But the Lord also spoke of hope. He spoke of restoration. Mount Zion would not be lost forever. It would become a place of escape. It would be holy again. It would belong to the house of Jacob. Their inheritance would return. Jacob would be like fire. Joseph would be like flame. And Esau would become dry stubble. The fire would consume what remained of Esau. There would be no survivor. Not because of man, but because the Lord had spoken. Those from the south would rise up. They would claim the mountains of Esau. The lowlands would be taken by others. The land of the Philistines, the regions of Ephraim, the fields of Samaria, all would return to the people of Israel. Gilead would belong to Benjamin. The exiles scattered across the lands, they would return. They would rebuild. Those taken to Halah, those sent to Sephari. Even they would claim cities again. Even the distant would come home. All these would gather on Mount Zion. They would judge the mountains of Esau. They would restore what had been lost. And the final word of Obadiah speaks of the future. A future beyond revenge. A future ruled by the Lord. Saviors would go up to Mount Zion. They would not be kings of war, but rulers of justice. They would bring judgment to Mount Esau. They would restore righteousness to the land, and above all, the kingdom would belong to the Lord. That was the message of Obadiah, a message of warning, a message of judgment, but also a message of hope. It reminds the listener that pride has a cost, that betrayal bears fruit, and that no height can shield a heart from justice. Edom once stood tall. They once looked down from their mountains. They felt above it all. But they forgot their brother Jacob. They turned their back when it mattered most. And the Lord remembered. He saw. He judged. He declared that even those who think they are untouchable will be brought low if they act with cruelty and pride. But the message is not only about judgment. It is also about the faithfulness of the Lord. Though Jerusalem fell, though Judah was broken, though Jacob was scattered, still the Lord had a plan. He would restore Mount Zion. He would gather his people. He would judge their enemies. And in the end, the kingdom would not belong to man, not to Jacob, not to Edom, but to the Lord alone. Obadiah's vision is short, but its meaning is vast. It speaks of justice and mercy, of downfall and redemption. It speaks of a day when the Lord's authority will be known, not just in Israel, but among all nations. This is the full word of Obadiah, one prophet, one chapter, a world of warning, a promise of hope, and in every line, The message is clear. The Lord reigns. The Lord sees. The Lord restores. He brings down the proud. He lifts up the faithful. He judges the betrayer. He saves the remnant. The kingdom belongs to him. Now, forever, always. Let this be remembered. Let this vision stand, not only in the days of Edom, but in every generation that rises in pride. Obadiah has spoken, and the Lord has fulfilled. Thanks for watching. The Bible continues.